Okay, everybody, this is Sheets, and we are at week 16 of Survivor Pool City. So now we are in a weird situation. So if you guys fall into different categories. If you guys saved the Rams for last week, you're probably out. If you did not save the Rams for last week, then not only are you probably in, but you got to watch the Rams people suffer. And everybody who took the Rams and everybody who took Pittsburgh got eliminated, as were people that took San Francisco. So if you were quote unquote fortunate enough to have taken the Rams earlier, then you had a really, really good week. Those of you that did not you previously use the Rams, then you probably went down, at least in some of your pools last week. Just the way it goes. Now, if in fact if you guys really want an A+, if you had the Rams available and you faded them anyway, then you get the MVP. Because there were some situations where, as I mentioned, if you were in a pool where you knew that there were like 10 to 15 people all had the Rams and you knew they were all going to take them, you could get 10 to 1 odds or so by picking any other team. And, that was really, really super sharp. So here we are. The other thing that I mentioned from last week was a really important decision of whether to burn Baltimore or not. So if you listened to me and saved Baltimore, you are in tremendous shape going into 16 and 17. I don't know where you're at in 17, and if you burn Baltimore, then you might have some issues in 16. I'm just telling you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go down again the best plays, but again, it's just at this point only going to be a function of who you have available, right? And how many people are left in your pool. You have to figure out, what you need to do. Like if there's only one other person in the pool and they have nobody left that's of any use, then just chalk out the best 2 plays possible to close out the season, okay? If you're against like 9 people and say all of them have, for example, Kansas City available, which they don't, but if they did, then you could fade them and go somewhere else to get that 9 to 1 leverage. So it really does depend on who you have. But to continue on the same concepts as before, and by the way, I got some of your messages, those of you that had Tennessee, Arizona, you're moving ahead, and I really hope you guys win. I mean, honestly, I'm only in like a couple still, but I still, I'm probably going to chop a couple of these at least. And I really hope that you guys, especially the ones that have never won before, close this shit out, so to speak. Boy, I can't believe I actually used the S word in one of these things, but I'm psyched. Those of you who've been with me for all 15 weeks so far, hopefully you learned something, and hopefully you can close it out. So where are we? We're doing the same thing as always. We're looking for teams with good expected value, which is a combination of good winning chances plus a low amount of popularity because you want to get leverage over equally favored teams that are owned by too many people. And right now, remember, future value, you still have to plan. If you have a team that you're going to want to use in 17, you don't want to use them now. But it's kind of easy to do the math right now. It's just 2 picks, right? Unless you have doubles, and then we're talking about something else. Then you have to go 1, 2, all right? So where are we at? If in fact you saved Baltimore, drop them now, okay? I think, right? Why do I think? Well, what if you had Kansas City available also? What if you had Tampa available also? Well, what's interesting is that you don't really save that much. In other words, all 3 of the teams that I just mentioned have incredible value in 17 also. So all 3 of these teams, it really doesn't make too much of a difference in which order you take them, okay? So what you need to do, honestly, is look at your pool and see who's got what, okay? And you have to take the team that's going to be least owned. So let's say that you're in a pool where, 10 people are left. 9 of them have Baltimore. None of them have KC or Tampa. And you have your choice between all 3. Take KC or Tampa, okay? You want to get leverage over those other players. Okay. So again, I can't do this individually for you guys. I just can't do it. I don't know where all you have in your pools. I can't do it for you, but that's the concept here. So let's just go one by one. Again, so all these popularity numbers are BS. Because what this is doing is showing overall popularity throughout all pools, but every pool is different. I would imagine that most of you are in pools that are down to some, I guess 50 at the most. Some of you are like, 2 people. So you have to just kind of use the concepts to apply them to your pool. But if you want to know in order what you're supposed to do, again, these are the 3 teams that have multiple paths. You can get through 16 and 17 with all 3 of these teams. So if you have either of these, what do you do? Well, it really is up to you. I think that you can make a case for all these combinations. Okay. So look at the ownership and just pick the one that's least owned if you have all 3 of them. Okay. I can't say Baltimore is any better than KC this week, because if you take KC this week, then you can't use them next week. It looks to be, well, all right, let me put it another way. I do think that Kansas City is probably better this week. And the reason why is because if KC clinches the 1 seed, then it's possible that they will have literally nothing to play for in 17. I've seen this so many times over the last, 40 years of looking at sports, where a team has nothing to play for, they will sit everybody. And I'll tell you this, if KC is sitting everybody and they're playing the Chargers at home, the Chargers will be a 7-point favorite. Right? You don't believe it, but it's what's going to happen. Now, if, of course, Kansas City does play their players, then there'll be a 14-point favorite like they're supposed to be. But that is what I guess if I had to choose, I would say KC now. Okay. I do think that Tampa and Baltimore will still have things to play for in 17. So those are the ones that I think have the most value in 17. Okay. And that's pretty much all I have for this week. So, and then if you don't have any of these available, then you're literally at this point just doing the math on the teams with the highest winning percentage over the next 2 weeks. If you have somehow a Buffalo available, they're next, along with New Orleans. I do think that you would, so if you're between Buffalo and New Orleans, let's say you have them both. Okay, you look, Buffalo has good value in 17, so you probably want to take New Orleans now and save Buffalo. Okay? All makes sense. If you have Houston this week, right, they're going to be popular, but it depends on how many people there are in your pool, right? If you can get away with not playing Houston, great. If you can get away with not playing a chalky Chicago, great. But you have to make sure that you're not then all the way down to some 7-point underdog, right? So again, look at the board, look at your pools. Let's say you're in a pool where you have 10 people left. 9 of them have Houston available. Nobody's got Chicago, all right, somehow. Then go ahead and take Chicago. Where else are you going down? Arizona. I saw some of you probably took Arizona this past week, so I doubt any of you have them left, but if you do, they're next on the list. Okay. Cleveland, they're probably the most likely winner, but they're going to be really popular as well. So again, look at the popularity of the teams that you're picking and try to avoid taking a team that you know is going to be completely flooded with ownership. I guess that's the best I have for you guys this week. It's a lot of it has just been all planned in advance by you guys, and you're just now dropping these bombs that you've been waiting, like Baltimore this week. And I imagine that very few other people have Baltimore left. So you could play Baltimore with almost no ownership, then that's what you do, man. That's about all I got for this week. Hopefully you guys are getting there, and hopefully you guys, post all your successes, and that's about it. Good luck.